Ha! Not up to Dad's quality. That's okay. It's my video. Okay. So, hi. I'm Rhyyan, and I have a large family. So, Mama Bear to many. If you, you may know her here on YouTube. She has 15 children, and she's pretty neat. So, she shares a lot of different things, and we've been following her probably since last summer. So, she put out that she's doing the Love My Large Family 2025. So, we decided to participate. Or I did, I guess. I think it's kind of fun. And I have some other friends that have done it too. So, I was thinking about the things that I like about a large family. I have wanted a large family forever. I was 14 probably. 13 maybe. Somewhere between 11 and 14 when I started helping a large family. They had 7 children, and they had they had 6 children. They had 8 children when I was with them. And I would go over there and I would help, not really babysit, but be like a mother's helper. And I fell in love with large families then. There was just constant noise and people and one thing from another, I said that wrong. One thing after another to do, constantly. They'd feed goats, and then they'd do school, and then they would be running across a barrel across the yard, or just reading and playing games, and it was so much fun. I loved going over there and helping. I don't know how much help I was, but I had so much fun, and I knew then that I wanted to have a large family. So, what do I love about having a large family? One, I don't have these in any kind of order, but I do have them written down so I can keep kind of a steady thought pattern, hopefully. The inspiration that you get from each other. So, just, if you have a mastermind class for business or something, you have a lot of bouncing ideas off each other. So one child might get interested in India and start making a bunch of different foods and dyeing things with plants from India, like indigo, or making masala chai tea. Yes, I know I double redundancied that. And just doing different things, learning, and then that can easily spur into offshoots of the same thing. Can I make a chai donut? Can I paint a picture with chai? Like people do coffee paintings or whatever. You just keep propelling things, and one person in the family might go down one way with the same information that the other person went the total opposite way with. And I just think that that's a lot of fun. It gives a lot of excitement and understanding. And if you have a lot of children, or if you're around large families, you will see that they're like any other group of people. Trends start. So we find that if one of us pulls out a loom and starts weaving, we turn around and other people have looms and they're weaving, or they've at least pulled out their yarn and they're knitting. If someone decides to watercolor, lots of people will start painting. I love that because you have a built-in group that just goes with it and has a lot of fun. So yeah, I very much like the creativity inspiration. Now this one can be bad, can be good, but mostly the different personalities in the house make you grow up, push you, can make you mad, and make you have to work through that and figure out how do I work with this kind of personality. I think it's easier to start learning how to deal with the hard to deal with people in your own house slowly as you grow up than it is to not have to put up with people and deal with certain things and then get a job somewhere and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't deal with these people, and get a different job and oh my gosh, I can't deal with these people. Your siblings can be the hardest to work with, and they can be the most brutally honest, and I think that it's hard. It can be very hard that way, but I think that it grows you exponentially, and I appreciate that. I'm from a family of 4 children, and I definitely noticed butting heads with some of them and getting better at communication for that same reasoning. So, having 10 children, that just makes that more bold and louder to figure out. If you need something, there's always someone who can help. So, like today I had a child with a headache that didn't quite feel that great, and so I had 2 other children that hate doing dishes, but they're like, hey, if we can have an audiobook, we'll get these dishes done for you. So they did. There's always someone available. Now, sometimes that means there's not somebody who wants to, but mostly you have help if you need it, and I very much love that one. It's just very easy for people to feel alone in the world, I think. And so we sat down at the table this morning for breakfast, and I looked down the table and I'm like, there's not very many people here. It's very odd. Like, I don't feel like our family is that big, and a lot of the times my children are like, there's not very many of us. So it definitely changes what you think of people and how many is a lot. That really didn't pertain to anything. It was kind of a random thought. Speaking of mealtime, I like mealtime. For us, we have had to be a little bit more we've had to be a little bit more scheduled than we've been in years. When Patrick came home to work from home, some of my scheduling went out the window, and I didn't replace it with anything because I didn't know how. We have Dad working from home. He has kind of a schedule that he makes, and we got a little bit too loose with a schedule when he came home. And that was a very long time ago now. That was, I don't know, over 10 years ago. So in the last 8 or 10 months, we've done some pretty good changes that have been super fabulous. One of those changes is that we sit down 3 times a day to eat a meal. Most of the time. Sometimes it doesn't happen, but most of the time we sit down 3 times a day to eat a meal, and we read scripture, and we discuss, and we enjoy being together for the meal. I really like mealtime. It takes a little bit to get into a groove of doing that if you haven't, but talking to myself even a year ago, have a place where you can all enjoy sitting down together and enjoying the meal quietly, and just like, you're not distracted. It's just you and your family. It's superb. My favorite time of day. The last thing, hi buddy, you can be in here, just be real quiet. The last thing is there's always someone to play with. It kind of is the same thing as always having help available. There's always someone that can listen to a beginning reader, or read to the younger children, or color, or give advice and help in how you might change what you're doing into a better way. And there's always ideas. So if you're like, hey, I want to do this thing, but I don't know how I would execute it, there's plenty of people to give you advice and help and to see it from a different angle. And I like that too. My children are fountains of ideas and thoughts and opinions, and glad it works, Woo. I love that. I think it's a lot of fun. And I'm eternally grateful for the fact that the Lord chose to give me the large family that He's given me. I don't take it lightly at all. I know I have several dear friends that had 1 or 2 children or even no children, and I know that it's a gift, and I'm very grateful for it. And it sometimes can be hard because you can easily get overstimulated, overdone. And sometimes it's hard to remember that you are so thankful for this. This is such a blessing. Most of the time it's easy to remember. But sometimes you're like, I can't take another thing. Nobody talk to me. That's when you need to disappear and go take a shower or go take a walk. And that's harder when you only have little children. But also, when I only had little children, I was not overstimulated. Until I was pregnant with my 5th, I was not overstimulated ever. And that was just a very rough pregnancy and a very rough delivery and a very rough postpartum. And that's when I actually, this is kind of funny, I actually banned the radio from my house because the children noise was enough, and if I had more, I was overstimulated. So, we had already, the TV was never really much of our lives, and then the radio left. So, and it left for years. It's back now. If you can't tell, a lot of the time in the background, there's either the children have a playlist on or they have an audiobook on, and that's probably most of the time now. Which I've chosen to love that too. And sometimes I will have them just go without. But it's mostly when they're washing dishes or as a special treat. So between those two things. But when you're cooking from scratch 3 meals a day, there's a lot of dishes. And sometimes your story's too good to turn it off in between lunch dishes and supper dishes or whatever. I'm trying to think if there's anything more. I don't know. But I love my large family, and I am so grateful that the Father saw fit to bless me with it. I hope you have a good day. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you another day. Bye. That was cheesy. Take that part out. I didn't mean it to be cheesy. It just accidentally sounds that way.